Day 3 of our 100 movie bucket list challenge, and we are back in the world of Pixar with 2009's Up. Directed by Pete Docter, it tells the story of Carl Fredricksen, voiced by the late Ed Asner, a recently widowed elderly man who has lost the spirit of adventure important to him and his late wife Ellie. Circumstances lead to him tying a bunch of balloons to his house and attempting to float it all the way to Paradise Falls, a land in South America he and Ellie always dreamed of going to. But through other characters like Jordan Nagai's Russell, Doug the dog, voiced by Bob Peterson, and a big giant bird called Kevin, Carl's trip doesn't really go as planned. I feel like even though this movie's reputation is amazing, coming out in a time when Pixar had almost never put a foot wrong, it still kind of gets lost in the shuffle of other Pixar greats. People obviously talk about the opening 15 minutes, but does anyone ever really talk about the rest of it and the wholesome adventure it takes us on, one that manages to mix grief with an adventurous spirit? The crossover of mature themes with a fun story is of course nothing new to Pixar, but I don't think Up gets enough credit for this. I love rewatching Pixar movies I loved as a kid, as an adult. As a kid, you recognize some of it is sad, yeah, but the themes never really leap out at you, unless you were a much smarter child than me, which is really not out of the realms. Watching Up now, it both breaks my heart and elates me 1,000 times more than it did when I was a kid, especially the themes of grief, waiting too long to chase your dreams, and the true definition of adventure. Most of these themes are presented through Carl, and I think he has one of the best arcs of any Pixar character. It starts with immense heartbreak, and it's here where we'll talk about the opening. It's just, what else is there to say? It's everything. It hits you in all the feels with no dialogue, making it more or less universal. And haven't we all heard that music in so many TikToks over the years? Like the one you're watching right now. But it's not just a montage that could stand alone as a short film. It informs the arc that Carl goes on. And Ed Asner is so good at realizing Carl. He's cranky, but he's endearing, and we're always on his side, even when he's making his elderly grumpy noises. Russell is also a lot of fun as an unlikely sidekick to Carl. Much of the movie's humor comes from a classic double act idea, with Russell as the silly one and Carl as the straight man. And when you add Doug the dog and Kevin the bird into the mix, it becomes even more wild. I also want to touch on the film's use of color. This is one of Pixar's best looking movies, and there are some one-off tableaus that could easily be their own posters. It doesn't just look pretty though, color often informs tone. Euphoric moments pop with color and somber moments are more muted. A great thing for kids, of course, but also visually really satisfying, and it's endlessly creative. The way Carl steers his house, the way he and Russell end up having to transport the house, the talking dogs. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when they were brainstorming this movie. Overall, I think Up is honestly a bit underrated. Maybe the movie as a whole is overshadowed by the opening scene, given that it's 10 or 15 of the best minutes ever animated, and maybe it becomes a little bit predictable by the end of the second act. But even with that in mind, you shouldn't sleep on this movie. The plot probably won't keep you guessing, but that's fine. The characters are so much fun, and the movie's adventurous spirit is a vibe that I am so here for. And it has what is, without question, one of my favorite ever final shots. If you haven't seen Up, definitely check it out, and if you have seen it but not for a while, you might be surprised at how much more it will resonate with you through adult eyes. Thanks for coming to my TelfTalk.
Are you in need of any assistance today, sir?
No.